Okay, Mr. TMPer, perhaps even Mrs. TMPer. Let's say we meet each other somewhere, just by chance. And we'll say it's in a location where civilians can legally possess knives on their person. Maybe in a few locations where they can't, if you catch my drift. And during that meeting, you decide to do a no-notice blade check on me, Nutnfancy. I can pretty much guarantee you I will pass. As you've seen on the camera before, here in the Nutnfancy project, and actually it's happened a lot off camera. I will have at least 2 blades on my person with very high probability, I'll say 99.9%, one's on the table. Victorinox Cadet. It is my basic, always with me utility knife. I love it. Super thin, super lightweight, super durable. It has saved the day many times for me personally and on camera actually. Here in TMP, you guys always laugh when the Cadet comes out. No one else has a pocket knife, and I got mine. And usually it's this blade, not blade, but driver, or this one that we're using. This one's been used a lot to extract sticky shell casings from chambers during TMP shoots, for instance. Great food preparation blade, not the quickest to access, easy to sharpen. Sometimes I'll use the file or the pointed end there to dig something out. I mean, just the utility for what it has is amazing. Victorinox Cadet. This one is in Harvest Green, I think. And they are coming out with new colors, which is very exciting. That's a Kelty Triptease reflective lanyard on there. There you go. Basic EDC knife with me pretty much all the time. Now you already know what the subject of this video is, so you can probably guess my other one, especially if you've been around watching my vids since 2008. Here it comes. My basic tactical knife, the Almar Eagle Ultralight, at an amazing, mind-blowing 2.5 ounces. These are the 2 blades which comprise my foundational knife system all the time. The reason they can always be with me is because they are so thin and they're very compact. And actually their utility far outweighs their size and weight. However, as I mentioned in my review, I think it was in 2008 on the Eagle Ultralight, some guys may look at it and go, well, I really like that knife, but I don't know if it's going to be strong enough. This is a pure micarta handle, and I rejoice over that fact. That's why it's so featherweight. You might criticize its torsional rigidity, though, if you kind of put it in some heavier duty use. I say heavier and not heavy because this is not a knife you'd really want to thump on. That's not its calling. The blade is not thick enough. The strength here in the pivot point I don't think is designed for it. To me, it's an emergency defensive blade, and actually an outstanding food preparation blade. Long 4-inch blade. I mean, you can cut huge sandwiches in half with it. But for heavy duty tactical use, maybe with some users, it might fall short. The good news is Almar has corrected that. No. Welcome to and say hello to the upgraded, stronger Almar Eagle HD. This is a Nutnfancy tabletop review on this knife. It's a little bit heavier. By my weighing, i.e. my scale, 3.4 ounces for the Eagle HD. That's not a lot. Not a lot at all when you consider you have 420J stainless steel liners which are completely skeletonized. Maybe someone's been watching Nutnfancy videos because I've been harping on that forever. I don't put liners in knives if it's me and not skeletonize them. And because of that, we've only gained 0.9 ounces on the HD. The philosophies for these 2 knives is identical. Well, I would say almost, and it really depends on who you are. I said it at the outset that it's a tactical blade. Both of them are. The Eagle HD is no different. To me, it's a foundational tactical blade, one that you can integrate into your system and have with you all the time. It's really important, by the way, and as I've done No notice gear checks on TMPers. A lot, mind you. Most of them off camera. I always get a chuckle because I outcome the excuses of why they don't have their knife, their gun on their person, and they're embarrassed. Guys talk big and they go, well, I carry 1911 all the time. I'm like, where is it? It's at home. It's in the truck. It's in the double wide, whatever. Same with knives. I mean, if you want it to have, or if you want to have it with you all the time, make it slim and trim, just like these blades. Foundational tactical to me means always with you. For that to happen, obviously, it's got to meet those size and weight constraints, I think, for me. How about hard use tactical? That's one where the propensity for it to be used in a self-defense situation is very high. I don't know if I would maybe put this knife in that category. To me, this is an emergency defensive tool, the Almar Ultralight micarta handled version. However, I think the HD could probably step up to the task with perhaps just a couple reservations, albeit, I don't know if this knife is going to withstand some spine thwacking tests, and some really hard use tests. It's just a lockback. Both of these are. But I think for most, very regrettable, hope you never have to, situation like that, I think it would do just fine. I would probably step up to something stronger with a stronger locking mechanism, maybe a stronger, perhaps thicker blade, if the likelihood of me needing that tool are very high in that philosophy of use. I would also say probably not, we're talking POU still here, a fondling knife. To me, a fondling knife is one that's really fun to play with, fun to actuate, and to me, the Almar Eagles really aren't. Don't get me wrong, I mean, they're great knives, they're fun, but they're not so smooth that when you pop them out, you're like, oh, I want to do that 1,000 more times. Their lockbacks, and sometimes the pivot points, we're kind of jumping ahead to speed here, are a little bit sticky. This one's really smooth now because I've used it for so many years. No sounds at all, just real smooth. By the way, that one's pinned. You can't adjust it in the micarta Ultralight. You can with this one. Standard Torx, phosphor bronze bushings. Out of the box, a little bit of roughness there. Okay, great thumb studs on the Eagle, by the way. They're ambidextrous. You can dig into them. They're excellent. They really don't have any occlusions. They're easily accessible, especially taking into account the design. But I don't know if I want to do it 1,000 times, fondling. Another philosophy of use, collectible. I would say probably, yeah, because there's a lot of dudes that, like any other brand, love Almar knives. So just as a collectible, different variations. And as you can see in the catalog here, they'll have different handle variations on some of their other knives, kind of like that. Not so much the Eagle HD. It's a working knife. Philosophy of use. I'll leave it at that. Again, the weight on both these blades, I guess we're concentrating on the HD, is outstanding. I'm going to show you some competitive offerings, other blades that will be about the same weight. However, they will lack a very important factor in my estimation for a tactical blade, and that is reach. These are 4-inch blades. Speaking of which, you've already noticed it's a different variation than the Eagle Ultralight. Here we have a very elegant full flat ground AUS 8 drop point. By the way, it comes extremely sharp out of box, albeit with a very short and abrupt relief edge, which on this particular knife I haven't resharpened. Haven't had to. Nice Almar logo on both of the blades, by the way. I really like that. Very classy touch. But this is not a flat ground blade. Obviously, it's a saber grind. Unsharpened swedge right here. It still is possessing of an adequately sharp tip. Nice flat right here for resharpening. If you use a consistent angle sharpener like the EPA, that's very nice. But it's not FFG, and it's going to be steeper as it approaches that relief edge. I'm not a super huge fan of saber grinds. I've always said that, and I'll stick with it. I'm going to make an exception for the Eagle HD, and here's why. 3.4 ounces, 4-inch blade. How's that for an exception? Because the thing is just so darn capable. That's why. You know, I would actually like it to be issued in this. That is to me, when we get to food preparation, maybe utility tasks. And I forgot to mention EDC. I like this one better, just a little bit. I put these in a tactical roll, though. I do. If you want to go EDC, I think Almar has some better options for you, and that would be probably the Hawk Ultralight, weighs nothing, or the Falcon Ultralight. Those are both 0.08 in thickness, and then the Eagle is 0.10 in thickness, osate steel. Those would be better EDC options. This one, by the way, is like 1.25 ounces, and this is less than an ounce right here. The Hawk Ultralight, amazing. Speed, I've demoed to you already. When you get good at it, it's going to be fast, and you do need to practice with these knives. You're going to be overcoming the tension on the lock bar right there to deploy these knives. That means you're going to have to dig your thumb in, put some tension behind it, put a little wrist action into it, like that. No big deal. You can do it left and right, not a problem. Great thumb studs once again. Speed is excellent once you get the hang of it. Lockup, flawless. No up and down, no side to side. Even with this pinned pivot point ultralight, I've had zero problems with it. And this one has about 3 years of use on it. It's not thumped because it's pretty much in my carry system. And I take care of it. It's not an abuser. Lock back knives. It doesn't have a D10 in it like some knives will have, like the David Boyd D10 in it. Whatever. I've never grasped this particular blade so hard where I've collapsed the lock. Not never. G10, and I would say it's medium traction G10 on this Eagle HD. It's not the cheesy Chinese stuff that we see a lot that basically has no traction. You note, by the way, they're pinned on there, so don't get this thing dunked in salt water. It might be an issue. Kind of square shoulders on this, just a little bit. More so than the Eagle Ultralight. If we do a comparison, you can see what I mean. This is more comfortable. This is not as comfortable. Just telling you straight up. Love the skeletonizing. Can't say enough good about it. I love the real estate on the Eagle. Always have. It has plenty of options for forward and reverse grip. Has a mild finger choil here for protection. Because it has good traction on the side, has a long handle you can grasp, it is completely lacking jimping topside. And you probably don't want to put skateboard tape up here because it's a lock bar. And it'll probably shed, put grit here, and it probably won't stick anyhow. But because of this traction here, I would say tactical probably. Lanyard hole is missing. It's just part of the design. And that takes us to what I think is a pretty squared away clip. I carried this for about a month straight, as much as I could, the Eagle HD. And I got to tell you, it carries so awesome. One, because it's only 3.4 ounces, and two, it has a decent pocket clip, which is about medium carry. It's not one that buries, and I usually prefer that. So you guys that like some of your knife protruding, hallelujah, you'll love this one. Great looking pocket clip. It's blackened, has a touch of class with the Almar logo. I dig it. Reversible for left and right, and thankfully it carries in God's intended orientation, that is tip up. I really like that. Good clip design. I don't see any durability problems with this knife, and I'm speaking from a lot of experience. I think the Eagle HD is going to be just tougher. I mean, it's got those stainless steel liners you wanted. It's going to have more torsional rigidity. I still love this one. This is my favorite. This is very close behind it. It's only 0.9 ounces heavier. Osate steel is excellent. Holds a good edge. It's a good medium quality Japanese steel. I've talked about it lots and lots. Be careful you don't rust it out. That takes us to competitive offerings. How about this one? Talking about a knife I always have with me. How about the Cold Steel Holdout XL, baby? 7.2 ounces Os 8A. About 90 bucks. I'm kidding. I don't have this with me all the time. I'm just breaking it out because it's hilarious. And it's just a funny size comparison. Look at that. Between the Eagle HD, Cold Steel Holdout. This is a plain edge version, of course. I finally got around to blackening that clip. De-seed it. Sick. It's a cool knife. And actually 7.2 ounces for a knife this big incredible. So that's really not a true competitive offering. However, this one is Spyderco Paramilitary 2 C81 at about 117 bucks, S30V steel, 3.8 ounces. So that is an excellent knife. And actually, I think this one's 117. If you go with the solid colorations, would be around 100, 105. 2012 prices. I love this one. This is my favorite one. Compression lock, 4-way repositionable clip. You talk about jimping that is perfect. Go watch my review. It's just such a great blade. Full flat grind. Close to the same weight, but look at the difference in reach. That's kind of why I'm rolling it in. 3.8 ounces, just a little bit heavier, not much. Well, Nutnfancy, that's not a huge difference. You're right. I would agree with that, but check this. And all the knives I'm going to put on the table, I shouldn't say all, but most are going to lose out in dimension. Not dementia, dimensions. Because this is going to be harder to integrate in the way I carry the blade. In a small, little, horizontally oriented pocket. Yes, in a fanny pack, deal with it. You guys remember this one? CRKT Suma. And that's a good looking blade. Blue layered micarta. Totally rounded and smooth. No sharp edges at all. It's a flipper design. McGinnis. Has jimping on it. However, we are forced with tip down. And it has, I think, an inferior steel at 8CR14 MOV. 3.8 ounces. It's going to be just slightly heavier. When I reviewed this knife, I talked about its reach and what incredible design it is because it achieves that. And then this one is going to be a smaller knife. CRKT Ripple Aluminum. Oh, I love this knife. Same steel, by the way, 8CR14, I believe. This thing weighs, I think, an amazing 2.4 ounces, about 31 bucks. Great blade shape, good jimping, tip down. Other than that, very squared away. I'm showing you this because look at it is one of the few knives on the table that will achieve the thinness of the Eagle HD. And I think that's all I'm going to show you. Looking around, yeah, that's it. The things it gets right, though, are the things that are extremely important, and that's the stuff I've fallen in love with years ago with this one, the Eagle Ultralight. By the way, check this. Years ago, I scored this for like 47 bucks, long before I did TMP. Dudes, I was like, huge score. Normally, this one's going to run, I think, around 96 bucks now. The Eagle HD will be at about $110. Look in the upright. That is my highly recommended location to go get, heck, either of these knives. Hopefully they stock it. The Eagle HD is I should say, great option tactically for a foundational knife. One that you'll have with you all the time, just like I've had this knife. 4 inches of reach at 3.4 ounces. Stainless steel lined. It's going to be strong. Adjustable pivot point. Great thumb studs. Medium traction G10 with an excellent pocket clip that can switch left and right for you lefties. Not much I don't like about it. Really the only way you can improve it is by jimping the top side. That's it. Love it. See ya.